Okay, and if you look at 58, okay, 56 is it deals with the letters that goes up until 57, and then 58. Now, what we want to look at here is how does Claudius and Gertrude respond to the letters that Polonius has read for them. Now, you remember what was Gertrude's question? Came this from Hamlet, close quote, and then I asked, was this a surprise? Is this surprise? Is this a surprise, or is this come from a place where he just wonders, okay. Okay, and then I think we said at this point Hamlet has been very strange, right? Would it also be strange that Hamlet writes such poetry at this point in time? Someone will say poetry is one of the reasons, in fact sadness is one of the reasons that lead people to be this poetic. Somebody once said. Okay, but the question is, do these letters come from Hamlet? And then I said maybe she could be really surprised that Hamlet is writes such letters to Gertrude, because these letters, they really show what devotion, deep devotion. And then I think that's what we picked up when we talked about this. Okay, so 58. Again, we want to look at how does Claudius respond. Okay, look at Claudius. Can I choose Claudius? Anyone wants to Claudius? Let me take Keegan. You are Polonius. Claudius is Nchasa, and then Gertrude is who? Do you want to be Gertrude? Very short. Yeah. You only come in then and then. Gertrude is very passive, you know. Okay, so let's start there. Claudius, do you see what it says? But how?
Well, but how had she?
Okay, you want to read aloud, ne? Okay. Question is, but how had she received his love? That's a question, right? What do you make of this question? Do you think Claudius is just asking, maybe he just wants to know, or maybe there is something else? Again, we're trying to find things there. Okay, I'm going to move like this, ne? Mpati, do you think this is just a genuine question, clarity seeking, or it's just inquiry because he just wants to know how? Okay, what does he want to know?
What happened between them?
Who? Mpati, deal with the text that I read to you. I'm going to repeat that. Ne? I felt like you were just asking, so that's why I'm actually now asking between who and who. Okay, so this is what it says. This is what Claudius is asking. How had she received his love? Okay, just to give you a little bit of context, this comes from letters that are written by Hamlet. He has written these letters to Ophelia. Polonius comes with these letters, he reads these letters, and this is how Claudius responds. He asks a question, how had Ophelia received his love? My question is, what do you make of this question? Is it maybe just seeking information? Is it genuine, or it comes from conventions, expectations, and tradition? Or maybe, I don't know, but now I'm giving you clues. Ne? Keegan, don't try. Just tell me what you think, regardless of many things I've said.
So if it was about traditions, it would not be a genuine question to be asking, because he's not the type of person to keep the tradition.
So he doesn't care in a way, you say? Okay.
I think he's more curious about what's the background, how they even met and how they're together now, and what's the story behind this relationship now.
Do you think he cares about this relationship?
I think he cares in the sense that he wants to know about Hamlet, what's going on with him, how.
Okay, I think that I understand. So you mean the reason he's asking is because he's more interested in finding out stuff about Hamlet, what Hamlet is basically up to. Okay. There's just one way of looking at it. There are many ways. Like I'm saying, at this point there are many ways. Remember, we still have to read the whole thing and then we can come back and revisit our points. Maybe we might need to make adjustment there and there. But for now, this is just based on this simple question. Okay. I know, I'll tell you one of the answers maybe I can get from many people, but let me hear, do you think this is just a genuine question, or he just wants to know, what did he do then? You find out that, okay, so what did she say? Doesn't she know? Okay, yeah, what do you say?
I think Claudius just want to know how did Hamlet fall in love with Ophelia, as Hamlet is so quiet and
how had she received his love? The question is very specific. This question is concerning Ophelia's reception to the letters. It has nothing to do at this point in time about, or maybe it has, let me not put it like that, but specifically wants to know about Ophelia's reaction or reception of this love, all these deep things that are said here to the celestial beauty. How does the letter continue? My soul's idol, and then also doubt that the sun moved, doubt that, and then he says, but never forget that I love thee. He wants to know, how did Ophelia receive all this? Why would he be interested in Ophelia's receiving this love anyway? Okay, wait, Dineo. I was just clarifying the question that it concerns Ophelia receiving the love. How did she receive? Okay, maybe let's pause there. Can we then deal with Polonius' proposition? What is Polonius' proposition about this whole case here? What is it that he proposes to them?
That the way Ophelia reacts is affecting Hamlet himself.
Okay, great. Yeah, I found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy. Maybe that's a rephrased version. So that's what he's proposing, right? Okay, so maybe if then we put it like that, can we also say then, maybe Claudius is trying to find out if what Polonius is saying is as a result, direct result of Ophelia's reaction towards Hamlet. Hence he asked the question, how did he receive this love? Okay, we can park it there. Let's look at the next thing and then we'll check if this was a genuine question or not. Okay, what matters is how does the other man receive this question, and then we can see the notion of this whole conversation. Look at how does Polonius think of the question. Polonius?
What do you think of me?
Okay, let's pause there. There's another question there. How does he say this line? Okay, in what way is he saying this? What do you think of me? What's the other way of saying that? What do you think of me? Do you really think I, Polonius, will actually allow such? It is in that same vein that he says this, right? Because if you look at all other things that are following, but what is another version? Beside the version I'm proposing to, what's the other one? Somebody says in another class, he sees it as an insult. I think maybe in the same sense that, do you think I allow this to happen? You see now, this is again leaning to the side of what? This is not ought to happen, right? Such thing should not be happening. So do you think I'll allow this? Any other version? Man? What do you think of me? I saw money laying on the ground. Did you take it? What do you think of me? I think in that sense, the other person maybe said it could be an insult or what. But let's look at the rest of the conversation. Keegan, do you want to add or should I proceed? Okay, let's look at the rest of it, then we can come back to it.
As of a man faithful and honorable.
I would fain prove so, but what might you think when I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it? I must tell you that, before my daughter told me, what might you, or my dear Majesty, your Queen here, think, if I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight, what might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak, Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star. This was not me. Then I precepts gave her, that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens. Which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repulsed, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and, by this declension, into the madness wherein now he raves, and all we wail for.
Okay, thank you. Let's just digest that. I'm going to read this and then I'll ask you a question. If you look at line 130, what do you think of me? Polonius, right? We know, if you look at Polonius' position, he's an advisor to the king, right? So obviously it would matter. It should matter how or what Claudius think of him, right? Okay. But this is the response that is given to Claudius. As of a man faithful and honorable. So it is in this light then, was it? I just need a yes or no. Was it in this light that Claudius asked a question, but how had she received his love? Would you say it is in this light in terms of what did you do about it? Or how does she see it? Because the way she receives it, she should know better being your daughter in any case, no? Because this is a man who says in page 54, if I'm not mistaken, in page 54, last line, just below 140, this is a man who says, I hold my duty as I hold my sword. And who also I think he spends time talking about how much he knows policies and obviously, so where is that? He says, and I do think, or else this brain of mine, this is a man who actually praised himself, hunts not the trail of policy so sure as he had used to do. Okay, so this is coming from the same man. Now you look at the response there. What do you think of me? Do you think I'll allow such? So again, you see that the entire response fills in the context where he says, does he lie? Here. Okay, this is what he says. When I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it, I must tell you that before my daughter told me what might you or my dear Majesty, your Queen here, think if I had played the desk or the table. Is he saying this is something he saw before even it was made mention of? Is he telling the truth? Yeah. Or maybe there's no way of actually validating this. Before my daughter told me what might you, or my dear majesty, your queen here think, this, he says he was seeing the signs of this, right? And this is how he thought about this. Okay, maybe someone will say, but say, remember that Polonius works, he stays there, right? He's there the entire time. So maybe he would actually see most of these things. Maybe that I would actually accept. But as you see, he put himself in a position where he saw this before it even happened. So, and then he says, he then tells him, what did he do thereafter? He spoke with his daughter. No, I went around to work. And then prior to that, he says, if I had played the desk or the table book or given a hard winking mute dumb, if I acted as if I didn't see any of this, what would you think of me? So you see, again, it matters how the king thinks of him. Okay, and secondly, as per the traditions and expectations, it is clear from this speech that he's supposed to actually call this off the moment he sees it. Okay, and then he says, and my young mistress, as I did bespeak, he says, this is what he says to Lord Hamlet. Lord Hamlet is out of thy star. What does that mean? Is he out of your league? Is he out of your reach? Or you and Hamlet aren't supposed to be together? This must not be. Again, that's conventions, right? Speaking, that's traditions, that's how things are supposed to be. Hamlet is of royal blood, right? He must marry someone who's of royal blood. So it was his duty and his responsibility to actually call it off. Again, that question, how had she received his love, could be speaking about Ophelia. If Ophelia is obedient to conventions and traditions, if she is aware, and being the daughter of Polonius, who claims to know about policy and to love his job with his all his soul, is supposed to know that. Hence, here, if you look at 59 at the top there, Polonius says, after I spoke to her, what did she do? Was she rebellious about it? No, she was obedient, right? Again, this shows that I am a man, right? I keep my family in line. My children listen to me. So in a way, that is also more like a flex. So it says, she took the fruit of my advice, and he being Hula, I think it's Hamlet, he repassed. As a result, Hamlet declined, that's what, by this declension into madness, it declines to madness. Okay. Is this the true account of why Hamlet is mad? Yes or no? Because of Ophelia. Yes or no? Okay, Kian.
I don't think so, sir.
Okay. Can you refer me to... But it's going to be hard to find. Maybe you can just sort of refer to it, man, where it is proven otherwise that Ophelia might not be, because Polonius put it as a sole reason. He believes this, and he's so sure, and he has spoken about a lot of things to prove this. I want you to refer to me. You don't have to be specific to page and chapter or scene, but refer to me where it is proven otherwise that this was something else.
Well, so we did hear the whole monologue that Hamlet had with himself about talking about the state of mind he has, and it did not have anything to do with Ophelia. Ophelia was not mentioned in that dialogue, and even then, this he was already mad or very sad before all of this as well. So Ophelia had nothing to do with the so-called madness that they say that he has.
Okay, you've given me new evidence there. Never actually thought about that. But now that you say it, I see that in that monologue, there's nothing to do with Ophelia. That monologue concerns the state of how things are in Denmark, his loss of his father, his mother getting married too quickly, and being, on top of that, being prevented to grieve. Okay, that was the part I didn't actually pay attention to, and that's a part you can refer to as well. Let's look at the second thing you can say. There's a time and place where he says, quote, he's going to put on. No, put on means you can put it off, right? Put on, he called it antic disposition. Who is he talking to there? Who's privy anyway to Hamlet's intentions and thoughts and plans? Who is privy beside us, the audience? It could be somebody that he trusts, that he can actually tell them his true intention. Give me a character. Who's Hamlet's friend? Yeah, it's Horatio. It's just that I can't really refer to a specific scene, but maybe because we are not talking about it. I'll give you the page just now. Go to page, this whole encounter. Go to page, where's Horatio here? Go to page 39. Okay. We know that Hamlet is mad as a result of bottom, I think line is, or the climax of this madness is when he decides, he's aware that this is something he's going to put on, is a strategy that will lead him to the truth, or to prove whether the ghost is an honest ghost or not, is due to his encounter with his ghost and the content of the message that the ghost tells him. Okay, but if you look at page 40, I'm looking for this word. I know it was here. Okay, just let me know. It's between 39 and 40. Look for antic disposition there.
So I think it's about the line 170 something on page 40.
Page 40. Okay, thank you.
Because I have a chance here after shall think we need to put an antique disposition.
Okay, underline. Okay, again, that's evidence you can use to prove that, page 14, to prove that on top of everything that has been said, just to prove that this is, Hamlet is aware, right? He's aware. Here, he says, to put an antic disposition on, that at such time, seeing me never shall. Okay, and then if you check there in the box, words and images, 173, to put an antic disposition on, Hamlet is already planning a strategy. He's going to pretend he's not all there, act wildly and strangely, even clown around. But why? Okay, this is the reason why when Ophelia meets, after this, Ophelia meets Hamlet, and Hamlet is like this, and that's when she goes and reports to his father. Again, this is further, we have proven that is wrong. Polonius is wrong. Go back to our original page. So, I would say, actually, if maybe I was dealing with the theme of if my essay dealt with the, let's say maybe the question says I should talk about themes, right? Maybe theme of appearance versus reality. Obviously, I would get to that, even though it's not the main thing, but it's something I will talk about. I would say Hamlet puts on antic disposition, right? Hamlet is going to be there because putting it on also is pretense, right? You appear to be, but that's not the reality of the situation. It's because you're trying to convince these other people that this is who I am. You know, that's not the case. And then secondly, I would add I would add Polonius as one of the people who are mad. Why? Ironically, why would you say Polonius is mad? Now this is based on page 58. No, sorry, page 58 and one up until line 150. I'm just giving you extra material. Why would you say Polonius is mad? Ironically. I think to be so sure and to try and provide such a chain of evidence to prove something that is basically non-existent, to me can be a sign of madness, because the guy is so sure that Hamlet is mad because of Ophelia, but we know that he's wrong. He is wrong. Okay, but leave it open.
So do you think he's delirious in old age?
That's another one. What do you say? Could it be an old age thing? Now you say, bring another aspect. That's another aspect. Ne? I think when the more people grow up, but it's a blessing to reach that age, ne? Where you are crazy as in old. Would you say it's an age? Would you only pin it on age, or it could be also his character? I feel like he's very nihilistic. You look at how he views even young people in general. It could be an age. It could also be a personality thing. But shame, ne? Arguably so. I think somebody must say this is. Would you say sometimes people get fooled by experience just because they've lived so long, so now they profess to have an answer to everything? In a way. Okay, but these are just further discussions. Okay, let's move on. Okay, from a woman's perspective, Gertrude agrees that it may be. And I think Claudius is more likely to trust that, right? Because remember, she loves Gertrude. No, does he love Gertrude? Do you think Gertrude? Do you think Claudius loves Gertrude?
Not really.
But he was willing to kill somebody for.
No, so you can't put somebody to take it from you for you.
Okay, before you say not really, yes, why? Just pick your mind and deal with the context later. Sit by the bed, no? What do you think again? Hey, it's I think it's a debate, ne? Or it's debatable.
If you compare the story, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
But this is a man who killed somebody for her.
So it's not like that. Let's say compare Hamlet with Caesar. Scott didn't kill Mufasa for this lioness. He killed Mufasa because he wanted the throne. It's the same thing. He didn't love the lioness.
And who has a
It's the same thing. Just here the people are acting and there the animal are acting, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Okay, why does the ghost say this relationship is adulterous
Maybe.
if the king is already dead? Your marriage and death, right? So, but the ghost says this is adulterous. He calls him Claudius adulterous.
They're being deceived.
It could have started before he was alive. He wanted her in a way.
Exactly. But if you think you wanted hair, and like that is the
He wanted everything, the throne in her, everything. So. What if maybe they just hey, try there?